Whoa, she's blasting.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to everyone. It's so good to see everyone. We're kind of scrambling this morning. Several people are en route, so we apologize for our little late start. And we're excited to have some visiting Rotarians from some other clubs. So it's an exciting day. So, Susan?
And Yara.
Oh, and Yara. I'm sorry, Yara, it's good to have you. Good to have you with us. It's always good to have our youth. And Michael, it's good to see you.
Me too.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's always good to see you. Well, with that being said, welcome to the Rotary Club of Akron. And just some FYI, I call it, did you know, that our Rotary transforms communities with approximately, I thought this was astounding, 47 million volunteer hours every single year. So 47 million hours we volunteer all across our world. And through our donations, Rotary sustains projects worldwide, not just here in the United States, but all around our world, worth 333 million global service initiatives for 2021. So, with that being said, no challenge is too big for us. For more than a century, we have bridged cultures and connected continents. We champion peace, we forge literacy and poverty, and we help people get access to clean water, sanitation, and fight disease. Our newest cause is to protect our planet and its resources. I don't know if you knew that. So again, I'm Linda Farkas. I'm your 2022-23 president of our club, and thank you for joining in person and to those friends that we have online. So at this time, if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our four-way test and our invocation this afternoon by Thane Billow. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thane, if you'd join me, please.
Hey, good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so today is January the 17th, and throughout the world, in both the Eastern and Western churches, and most especially in rural parts of Italy, the feast day of St. Anthony the Abbot is celebrated. It's also known as St. Anthony the Great. So Sant'Antonio Abate, so St. Anthony the Abbot, is referred to in Italian. He died on this day in the year 356, and he is celebrated and recognized as one of the most illustrious hermits in the history of the organized church. So why do we celebrate his feast day today? So it's the middle of January. Today we actually celebrate the gateway to the spring and summer harvest. We're celebrating the end of a cold winter, and that something is deeply rooted and is looked forward to by farmers and those who live an agrarian life. And in traditional iconography, or as far as icons, how he's depicted as being surrounded by sensual women, which is symbolizing temptation. So if you remember, he's a hermit, he lives an ascetic life. He lives in this world, but he doesn't aspire to be of this world. He aspires to higher things. He's also depicted with symbols of fire, and not symbolizing torture or the devil, but more so heat of the sun, the end of winter. And most frequently, he's symbolized as being surrounded by domestic animals, in particular the pig. So he's a popular protector and patron saint of livestock, domestic animals, farmers, and firefighters. So also known as St. Anthony of January and St. Anthony of the Pigs, on this day we ask for his blessing and his intercession. Unfortunately, as Rotarians, we can't live ascetic lives. We're not hermits. The COVID lockdowns maybe tricked us into thinking we were hermits for a period of time, but we can't do that. Unfortunately, as Rotarians, we're called to lives of service. We're called to get out on the streets, get our hands dirty in service to the kingdom of God and to our fellow man. So for that, on this day, we ask the Lord to bless us, to bless our families, and bless our time together. May everything we say and do bring glory to the Lord, and may it advance his kingdom. Amen. Amen.
Whoa. Oh, hi, Connor. Well, it's good to see everybody that's now arriving. So I see Mr. Chili Open just popped in too. Oh no. Oh, wow. Well, we do, our guests, did Angie pop back in here? She's got our list of, yeah, our list of visitors this morning. I'll introduce Fred Carter. He's our guest speaker today, but Fred is also the president of Port-Summit, so it's good to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And your club also has the mayor of
Lakemore?
Yeah, Lakemore. So yes, and your club is doing the four-way speech contest.
We'll be hosting this year. Yeah.
So-
At Springfield High School.
So that'll be great. So we need to talk it up here. So give us some good advice on that. Angie, hello, my dear. So you have some wonderful guests that you'd like to introduce.
I do, thank you. We have some visiting Rotarians here, Randy Riniger from Green and Abraham Panikotov from Green. Please stand up. Welcome. Today our speaker's name is Fred Carter, and we also want to once again greet our exchange student, Yara Martin Salas, wherever they are.
Yeah, it's right there.
That was nice to have visiting Rotarians from other clubs. So, thanks. And Randy, it's so good to see you. So, Randy and I work on the district conference, so we've been friends for a few years. So it's good to have you here in Akron. So it's good. So did any of our own club members visit any other clubs by chance? No visiting ambassadors? I'll go through announcements very quickly. David, do you want to just remind everybody about next month for the Akron Canton Food Bank?
Yeah, so Akron Canton Food Bank, we're doing every other month. We're starting next month, and the dates,
Can they use the mic, please, Linda? That's why we have it.
It's February 22nd.
February 22nd, 4:30, 6:30. We go, we break down large quantities.
Can they use the mic, please, Linda?
It's a good time. They're allowed to go out to dinner afterwards. So join us on the sunny side out, probably closer to the beginning of February. Thank you.
Dave, you're going to have to start on a real mic now.
Oh.
Cheryl needs.
Okay, so now I know the date. Doing a food service project February 22nd, 4:30 to 6:30. And I haven't sent out an email yet, but I will be beginning of February for signups. And then afterwards we'll go out to dinner and you know, anybody who would like to can join us. So that's it. If you can join us, please do. Thank you.
Thanks for the microphones, because they're a new addition this morning. So we're not used to having them, so it's a real plus. Susan?
And we contributed $320 to like Ukraine. And I talked to Claudine. She said that a lot of these will go to hospitals and physicians because, you know, the lighting, electricity is a problem.
Susan, tell me again the dollar amount. I didn't hear you. The dollar amount that was collected?
$320 is what you've contributed, and we will find out what other clubs have contributed later.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to hit it off with get her done with Chili Open. So,
Mr. Chili Open goes.
you want Mr. Chili Open to start first? Okay, Mr. Chili Open. Jim Redmond. Here he is.
Let's see, it's only the 33rd year I've been doing this. Let's see, what should I say at this moment when there's crisis? All right, hey, thanks for everybody's help so far, who's been making calls. It's 2 weeks from Saturday. The one thing I know I'm supposed to announce is we have a logistics challenge on this Saturday. We have a semi-tractor trailer parked out at Stutler Leasing, which contains everything that you need to throw a Chili Open. That trailer is no longer roadworthy. So we are, this Saturday, I believe we're going to pick 9 or 10 o'clock when we get some people, anybody with teenagers. We're going to go pull the greens, and I think most of you know what's in the back of that semi-truck. We're going to pick out what we need, and then Stutler Leasing has a straight truck right next to the semi. We're going to pick out what we want. We're going to keep about 30 greens, because this year I think we're going to have 5 6-hole courses. We're not going to have 5 9-hole courses, because we figured out last year during the snow, we really don't need to set up 9-hole courses, do we, Tom? Right? Because everybody volunteered Saturday, and there was nobody there Friday. So we're going to have probably 30, we'll keep 30 of the best AstroTurf greens. We'll keep the tees. We'll take what we need out of the semi. I would envision take an hour or 2. So we're going to need some volunteers this Saturday, and I'm going to pick 10 o'clock. Everybody knows where Stutler Leasing is. And if we don't do that, we won't have a Chili Open because everything's in the back of the semi, which is no longer roadworthy. So we'll end up cleaning the semi out after the event, and then we'll end up selling it. So, right, Mela?
That's right.
Did I make a good announcement? Anybody interested potentially for Saturday? Yeah, is it?
The only person that doesn't know where Stutler Leasing is.
We'll get it out to the club. So I'm planning to see there. We'll put an announcement out today. Yeah, it's, anybody know where Wayside Furniture is? It's 2 minutes from Wayside Furniture. Okay.
Good.
The Raffle Queen?
The Raffle Queen. Angie? Woo-hoo.
Okay, currently we have 98,980 as of before what everybody brought to the meeting today on your raffle tickets towards our goal of $60,000. Just a reminder, we need to raise $40,000 for Vanderveer to donate the car. Every year it comes down the wire, and we know we can do this. Last year we sold over $57,000 in raffle tickets. If you need more tickets today, please see Amanda. We appreciate your help towards this end, and like to give a shout out to the following Rotarians who have purchased and or sold their raffle tickets since last week's meeting. Susan Colville Hall, Terry Dalton, Linda Farkas, Cindy Kane, Catalina Pappas, Roger Reed, Dan Remenschneider, Mark Seward, and Angie Claypool. If you turn your raffle tickets in today, please raise your hand so that we can also recognize you. Anyone who's not been? David Hall. We appreciate your help in this, and it is getting down to the wire, and you can't win if you don't buy tickets. So please help out.
Jeff?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we had a meeting yesterday on the Chili Open, and we really need some alcohol for this.
Attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
Attitude adjustment.
Seriously, I think we had 1 or 2 bottles up till yesterday, and we brought some today, but we could really use your help. We were talking yesterday, making calls this year, it's a little bit different. It doesn't have the same feeling that it had the last couple of years. And it's not a good feeling. It's a little bit of a struggle this year. So we're asking that you really kind of help dig in and make calls for it. Bring some wine, bring some liquor next week, or call me, I'll come pick it up. Anything you can do to help. We're down to 2.5 weeks here, so we're really asking for Rotarians to, but like you do every year, and it's going to work out this year. But like I said, I think there's just something a little bit different about this year. I think people are a little afraid of what's going to happen in 2023 with the economy, many other things. But again, I'm asking you if you could please, please, please help Cindy and I and the rest of the team to join in and a little deeper in your pockets, which we ask every year. I get that, and we thank you so much. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, Iris, you. Do you want to say anything more?
Hey, Matt, I have a question. You tell me that you sent, and I looked for it, I talked to one other Rotarian last night, you sent out an email?
So Amanda sent one out on behalf of Cindy and Jeff with information of the raffle, how you can, there's a message there, you can forward it on to your list of colleagues, friends.
Right, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I went back last night, I've got my own version, but I couldn't find yours, and I just want to make sure, did everybody remember receiving that?
So we're going to send it out via email versus Club Runner.
So you sent it out Club Runner?
We sent it out via Club Runner.
Well, that might be a problem for me.
No, you got it. I
Right,
looked
you
at
sent it
that.
out email, but I was
Jim,
when
it
you
shows
sent
it got
out,
delivered to you,
the
Jim.
easy thing to do is to send that out to those who might be interested, to drive them to the website to buy tickets. Right, that's the biggest thing that can help the raffle.
Yeah.
At
So we
this
talked
point.
about that yesterday, and then from Dan Reynolds.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, yes, we will send another one out. It went out through Club Runner if you didn't get it. We're going to send it out via email. It'll come individually from Dan Renner, so it won't be part of a group email. So look for that. So it's a great way for you to send it out to your email list of friends, family, and colleagues. So.
Mel, I did look at the recipients and people did receive it. I did look at the stats.
Hey, Cheryl, hold on here. Let me stand closer. I can repeat what you just said because no one heard that here. Go ahead, Cheryl.
We can look at the stats, and I did do that, and most people did receive it. Not all of them opened it, but they received it.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody here? Okay, all right. One more SOS for Chili Open. I've been told I need to sing.
On behalf of Dan Reynolds, let's get her done.
And Mela or Jeff or Cindy, the volunteers, I see Dr. Doug is not here, so.
I have a message from Dr. Doug. You need a microphone.
Microphone.
I have a message from Dr. Doug. He created the sign-up sheet. We reviewed it yesterday. It will go out today, this afternoon or tomorrow. Please look out for that and sign up. It's coming from Sign Up Genius, so we'll just include an email and get that out to you as well.
Doug's on Zoom.
Okay, thank you so much. Very good. Hopefully you saw the announcement from Terry Dalton about our scholarship interviews. I didn't get an update from Terry yet this morning, so I believe he's still looking for some interviewers to help with the potential scholarship winners through Akron Public Schools. It is held at the board office that's at the corner of Main and Market Street. So if you'd like to be an interviewer for some young potential rising graduating seniors from Akron Public Schools going on to college, please please see Terry. It's a great opportunity. It's a lot of fun, and it's so interesting to listen to these young people and their plea and so many words for a scholarship. So that'll be great. One thing about the Friday night, Nella helped me out with the Chile Open cutoff. It wasn't listed in our newsletter, the times. It is this Friday, January 20th at Whitey's, and it was listed, Nella.
What part in particular, Linda, do you want?
I didn't get anything, but they can send it to me.
5 to 8 p.m.?
Correct. Yep, and there's flyers on all the tables.
Okay. Again, so this Friday night, let's do a positive kickoff at Whitey's up in
Richfield.
Richfield, okay.
Road.
Can Amanda send that to me, or Mella? I never got anything.
Okay, thank you. And we will do that. So it's great. So we look forward to seeing everybody playing some putt-putt golf and enjoying some Whitey's chili Friday night. Don't forget.
Yes.
It's a great kickoff.
Yeah, Mella, if you can send that to me, I never did get it for the newsletter, so I'll definitely post it.
We'll get that to you, Cheryl.
We also have an SOS for sponsors for next year for inbound students. We have 9 that are going to be coming here to the District 6630, and they're looking for 9 clubs to commit to hosting an inbound student. So if anyone would be interested, would you let me know? And I'll pass the information along. So we would like to be another host club like we did Yara this year. So again, that's an FYI. I didn't get on your table, but one of our other fellow Rotarians from the Fairlawn Club, they sponsor an astronomy club, the Summit County Astronomy Club. So information will be forthcoming in our newsletter. So it's a great opportunity for a field trip, and also not only for adults, but for children. So it's, again, it's hosted by the Fairlawn Rotary Club. So it's quite the setting if you're interested in astronomy. It's a beautiful place. Do we have any other announcements? I feel like I'm just being the newsletter here. Don't forget, if you're on the grant committee also, January 18th, there's a 1 o'clock Zoom meeting, and then we'll have, Sandy and Aragon said we'll have another meeting here for the grant committee on the 24th after our meeting. Real quick, Jerry, do you want to do a plug for our off-site? And then I'll let you do the introduction.
Why don't I just go up and do the whole thing? It's because I'm wearing these big hot pants. You gotta wear colorful stuff when it's a gray day. Okay, right, the off-site meeting on, I just lost it here. Anyway, it's on February 7th. We will not be here. We'll be at the Boutique Hotel, which is an awesome place. It'll be really fun to go there right after the Chili Open and celebrate, I'm sure. Our speaker will be Tony Tropy, who is one of the major up-and-coming and long-standing developer gurus for Akron. And Tony will take the microphone and take us away. He won't even need an introduction, although I'll give him one. The cost is $20. You can register online using the newsletter or the club runner. There are 3 choices, which you'll see when you look at the information. And parking will be at the High Street Garage. The Boutique Hotel is at the intersection of Main and Market. The parking lot is just 1 block uphill
in the High Street garage. And my mother is going to reimburse anyone who is going to be parking there, so make sure you don't park with the all-day rate. Just do it with a that's just a joke. You can park there all day if you want to. So any questions on that? February 1st is the deadline. Yes. No. Right, oh yes, but I'm not sure how that works. I guess you could just come and not eat. Okay, I will go on. We have already begun with Fred as the president of the Port-Summit Rotary Club. He's also the owner of the Schooley Mitchell location serving northeastern Ohio. His background includes 25 years of consulting to local company owners as well as the C-suites of multinational companies. He can trace his start with nonprofits and service organizations back more than 35 years when he got his start volunteering at camps for the developmentally disabled and contributing labor towards cleanup projects along the Cuyahoga River. Fred is actively looking for organizations that want to see their revenue used less for commoditized services and more towards serving meaningful goals. A recent project he will highlight is one that identified $200,000 in excess spending with the Cuyahoga Falls company. Nearly $100,000 will go back to their bottom line, and another $10,000 will fund a Summit County Lions Club's efforts serving the sight impaired. Programs like this one can be repeated by organizations serving virtually any nonprofit or for-profit purpose. So, Fred?
Thank you, Jerry. I'm going to try to take over and throw a PowerPoint up on the screen. I realize everybody here is dealing with what we deal with back at the Port-Summit Club. We get a lot of sunlight in our room too. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to claim Randy Reniger really quick. He's mine. He's at Port-Summit Rotary, and I know he was announced as green, and that's completely forgivable, but I got to claim him as mine. I love that man, and he's been an inspiration to me for the last year and a half as I've gotten to know him. So, I'm not sure how to hide that for the club. Does that just go away? There we go. That's a little better. So, hi. I'm really glad to be here today. Really wasn't expecting the invite, and I appreciate the fact that Cheryl asked me to come in and talk to the group. And I said, well, what do I come in and talk about? And she goes, well, I want you to tell some of the stories you've been telling me about yourself and about your background and about what you're trying to bring to some of the service clubs in the area. So that's really what I'm going to try to do today. The glasses on this screen really just indicate that I've made this PowerPoint to try to be as simple as possible, and it's not fancy, but it's to help viewers at home, and also with this kind of screen to maybe be able to see the images a little bit clearer across the room. So today I'm basically just going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my background, talk a little bit about what I'm doing today, and then how I can leverage what I'm doing professionally to help service clubs and to actually drive meaningful amounts of money into the hands of the organizations that want it. So going way back, this photo here is of a ship called the USS Wisconsin. That's myself and my daughter on there. That ship is docked in Norfolk, Virginia, and directly behind the ship is actually where I was born. I was born in a Navy hospital down there. I was a Navy brat, and I got to experience that for like the first year and a half of my life, so I've got like one memory of it, and it's probably my very earliest memory is of leaving a ship with my father on his last day being stationed down there. Also going back early on, I want to mention my sisters, my siblings, because they kind of tie into some of the other stories that I want to share. We've got Sarah, we've got Elizabeth, Beth, and Laura. I've got 4 sisters, no brothers, except for the fraternal organizations that I'm a member of. A little bit about each of them. Sarah died within days of being born. She had a condition that they referred to as water on the brain. She had exposed spinal areas in the back of her head. It was not a survivable condition, especially to the extent that she had it. Elizabeth was also born with a spinal condition known as spina bifida. And Beth and Laura were born, like me, somewhat normal, without these extra conditions. The reasoning for why they had these things is really kind of hard to put our finger on. With Sarah, we think it has to do with medicine that my mother was taking that was actually helping her deal with a real medical condition, but it was blocking the absorption of folic acid. And they believe that that is what caused her brain to be exposed and her spinal column to be exposed. Elizabeth, we're not quite certain. We believe it may be a combination of a vitamin, issue, but it may have also been due to father's exposure to Agent Orange while in Vietnam. My mother, who I'll be talking about here on the next slide, got really involved after having 2 children born with these conditions. And she wanted to know who else has been affected. Why are these things happening? And then she was also struggling from a very early age, and we're talking early 80s, of how do we help children like this get access to the resources we need? How do I find these things? How do I help my daughter connect to education and the other resources we're going to need to help her navigate this life that's ahead of her? And found that there were some exceptional challenges in that realm. And I know many of the people in this room are familiar with those kind of things, either due to the exposure over at Camp Rotary to some of these issues or directing your own lives. But she got really involved, and that's how they were able to start attributing some of the reasoning as to, what happened with the medicines and what was going on because they lived in a community with a lot of Air Force and Navy, and they were able to look at the connections to the military and track things back to people's service records. But she tied these families together, helped give them an outlet, to share together, and also to help bring in information. And pretty early on, she ended up getting asked to serve by nonprofit organizations. Will you come in and will you volunteer for us? Will you give some presentations? Will you help us organize stuff in the office and do some of the grunt work too? And so my mom did this kind of stuff. And over time, that kind of grew, and she became a bit of a community organizer, helping to get people in school districts organized enough to talk to the school districts, to change policy and to make things happen. And we're still talking ADA years. But leading up to the ADA, she really started taking on these bigger and bigger roles. As I said, Maureen, you just know this stuff and you can communicate with people, and we want you to be out there and to connect people and to work with legislature at the state level and the national level. And we also want you to work with groups like ARC, and I believe the other one is Anchor. And they worked together to help create language that went into the Americans with Disability Act. And that all led up to the Americans with Disability Act being signed into law in 1990. And she was there at the White House lawn, and got to see that. I think you may remember seeing someone actually sign that with their foot. That made the national news the day that was done. And that was a really important day to her. So taking her story into the future, she's now a director of an advocacy agency. And to me, I look to her as like my moral compass. Like, I know what I want to do in my business life, and I know what I want to do like as a father. And I've got great male role models. But when it comes to like, how do I lead with my heart? How do I do things that have to do with my feelings and that side of my life? I look to her for that direction, is a bit of that moral compass in there. So I am going to dial this back a little bit to going back to my teenage years and young adult years to give you a little bit of perspective on what I did with some of that. So I was in a community that didn't have a lot of clubs. Unless you were in like an academic club, sports club, you didn't have anything. So I joined an environmental club, and like it was mentioned earlier, I helped clean up sections of the little Cuyahoga River, kind of down there by where the, I believe that's the towpath trail gets started off at. There's a rail station down underneath the All-America Bridge. I also did things like helping my dad work on the All-America Bridge when that was built. And I say that kind of loosely because I was 4 or 5 years old, but I was up there on a bridge helping to carry around water hoses with him alone on Saturdays because they would call on him and just say, Fred, his name's Fred also, come on down here and help out. And so I actually gained my fear of heights, I think, from actually looking off the edge of a bridge and straight down into a valley. I'm sure that wasn't intentional by my dad, but he had no fear of heights. And this was a man that would run across an I-beam that's 8 inches wide with no safety harnesses and run a stretch 20 feet wide. Now, I've got a picture of Camp Rotary in here. I did not know about Camp Rotary, actually, really understand what was going on there until about 12 months ago. But I put a picture of Camp Rotary in there because as a youth, I would go to different camps as basically the son of a person presenting. My mother would be at these places, sharing information, leading courses, helping to get people organized. And as part of these camps, there was all these great programs going on. I'd go out there and hang out with the kids, and sometimes they'd be like, Fred, can you do this or can you do that? It's a little different from what the other kids were doing, but I got it. I was able to do some things that maybe they couldn't do as easily. So nonetheless, when I found out that Rotary was tied to the camp here, and what the camp actually did, because I've been driving by it for decades and had no idea what it really was, I was floored. And I fell in love with the camp. And I'm so grateful that you had the meetings out there last year and the staff available to take somebody around and show them that. I'm really just in awe of the work that's been done there by this club and by everyone that pitches in for that. And then as a youth, I was really involved with scouting and made a jump over into a program called the Young Marines. Programs that taught me a lot about structure, about responsibility, respect for people. And as a kid, I was into the fun stuff too. I played video games, listened to a lot of music. I'd read about 2 books a week. I've cut that down to only about a book a week now. And I hiked a tremendous amount through our green spaces here. And I'm sure you're all well aware of it, but we've got a treasure of the, this is our metro parks, Summit County Metro Parks, I apologize. And there's so many places across the country that have nothing like this. And when people come here, they're absolutely in awe of it. And I feel so grateful to have been raised around that, where it was just there. I took it for granted. And then you start to travel and see that other places don't have this. And it's not just because of the unique geological feature we have here with the valley, but there's been a lot of work put into making this available for the public and to curate it the way it has been. And that going out on the trails maybe 2 or 3 times a week as a kid has stayed with me even as an adult. So this story kind of brings up to where we are today. It's some of the things I've done over the last few years as an adult. I do want to highlight the picture, though, that's at the top of this screen. Does anybody recognize this picture? It was actually nationally famous in 1990. Okay. It was called a Capitol Crawl, and it was done in April of 1990. The little girl that's pictured there, her name is Jennifer, and she is fully given permission to use this photo. But basically what they were doing is they were preparing for the signing of the ADA. And Jennifer was, her family's from Michigan, and they wanted to go, but there was this doubt. They were like, do we really have Jennifer do this? Because it could look like we're trying to make some sort of pity move here. And when they suggested to Jennifer that she might not be able to do it, and Jennifer's I think about 6 years old, she was kind of hurt by that. She goes, I want to be a part of this. I want to show that there's access issues here at at our nation's capital, at the Capitol building. These are the front stairs leading right up to the big dome. She's like, there's no way to get up there, and I'm the only little kid here, and I want to represent. She understood at 6 years old that there was importance in representation, and they let her do it, and she made the crawl. And Jennifer's alive today. She's an adult. She lives, I believe, in California or Arizona. But for kids like that, they didn't have it easy. I had it way easier than what she did. She was actually told when she was 8 years old, they went into a restaurant in Arizona, and her family was told, hey, we don't really want you in here because the other families don't want to see people like you eat. Yeah. So, I put her in there, and I put this picture in there because it's stories like that that keep making me want to get better at what I do and to drive my mission in life, from less about the companies and the professional stuff that I do, and more into how do I help groups and organizations accomplish their goals. And the ones that I'm currently involved in, Rotary, I've been in 3 different Rotary clubs. Some of you may have heard this. I started with Talmadge. I did a short stint in Ravenna because I was kind of just like, I just want to serve wherever I'm working the most. And then I eventually just said, I want to serve in the community where I live. That means the most to me. And so that's why I am at Port-Summit, and I'm glad that they have me there. I've also continued that activity as an adult leader with the Scouts. Right now it's really loose. I just get called in for special projects, or hey, can you show the kids how to do backpacking? Because we know you like to climb mountains and things like that. So I'll go out and do that. The Children's Services emblem I include on here because I was very active with the foster parenting, and several programs helped support different holiday-related programs for the kids in the foster parenting. We also adopted through Summit County Children's Services our youngest child. I've been active in the Lions a little bit longer than I have been a Rotarian. Did summer camp volunteering out at Hattie Larlum, and I absolutely love what we're doing over here at the food bank. And you know, my family and I have done the sorting and breaking down those gaylords of boxes, and so I get really excited when I hear the club here talk about similar things to things that I've seen before too. I know that they really do make a difference, and we're really making people's lives easier through those activities. So over on the right there, you'll see those companies. I've worked for a bunch of international companies as a consultant, typically a consultative sales type position. And I'm currently the owner of Schooley Mitchell's office here in Akron. It's actually a franchise agreement that I have with them. So I guess I technically don't own it. I lease it from them. But I'm going to be doing that for the next 20 years. Now, I don't want to leave out my family. So yeah, I'm married. I've got 3 kids, and we have raised our kids on the trails, whether that's Valley National Parks or here in the metro parks. One of the things my eldest daughter didn't tell me about a couple years ago, she was finally getting confident to do this when she was about 18 years old. She said, Dad, I kind of had it with the death marches. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, 8 miles is too much for me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dear, but I get it. And I also understand, kids are growing up. They want their own space. They don't want to spend 4 hours with Dad on a trail every weekend. But my son, he's like, Dad, I'm still okay. We can keep doing the 12, 15, 20-mile weekends, when we go down here and do big loop hikes in the valley. And he's also the one with me, the picture down here at the bottom left. He's the one that will climb glaciers with me. My son has just got a natural athletic ability. So we've been up in the Tetons in the Wind River range, and we've hit those alpine areas, and it's been cool to find that, with one of the kids that had a similar interest like that. And I take my other kids on the hikes, but I no longer drag them on the death marches. And my wife is I think starting to give up on the death marches too. So I'll try to make this last part kind of concise, because I really feared coming in here and making you guys feel like you're being pitched to, but I was hoping to understand, at least explain the project that I'm working on a little bit, and how what I do professionally ties to what I'm trying to give back to organizations. So Schooley Mitchell is an organization that's been around for about 30 years. The real focus is helping to make sure that organizations, whether that's municipalities, school districts, private businesses, for-profit, nonprofit, that they don't have to pay more than they should for commoditized services. And when I say that, I mean things like telephone, internet, certain types of software, waste disposal. It's about 13 categories that we really specifically consult to. And we focus in on these areas because what we know is that on average, organizations are spending somewhere around 30 to 35% more than they should on a lot of these services. And we also know that there's a huge amount of errors that are on these bills. And we'll go back for an organization and put it into perspective. We helped a larger municipality recover over $400,000 of money that they were misbilled by a large telecom provider. That's a matter of scope. Now, so we can do the same thing for smaller companies, just smaller amounts. And when we did that, we went back to this telecom company and we said, hey, you just overbilled these guys by $133,000 a year. We've got the clout with these organizations. They looked at it and said, yeah, send us your documents. Not the first time you've caught us doing something like this. And within 90 days, they had the money credited back to them and they received the money back. No lawyers involved, not a drawn out process. It did take a little time. They obviously wanted to verify it. So one of the biggest problems that we find, though, the thing that we seem to be able to help companies out with the most, because you would think, well, this big organization, Fred, they have, you're able to get $133,000 a year back for them. Well, yeah, why didn't they find that on their own? They probably have all kinds of MBAs and they've got purchasing agents and buyers and people that have been doing that stuff for years too. Well, yeah, they do, but these people also typically don't have specialized resources like software, and they may not have the relationships with the organizations that they really wish that they did to be able to leverage the information that they know to get them to come back off on their costs. One of the other things that these companies have in their advantage, what we refer to as an information imbalance, is that these companies, they know what they're charging everybody across the spectrum. And they know what more or less every one of their competitors is charging across the spectrum, so they can figure out where they need to fit into that and to make as much money as possible. I don't blame them for that. I'm just trying to figure out how do we flip that around and help companies save that money too. So that's basically what we do, is we track this on about 27,000 active clients that we have. And we're able to say from the very largest companies, and we're talking about companies like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, companies of that size, all the way down through your mom and pop corner store, or even little auto shops with 2 or 3 people. We're able to say, well, we know what these pricing spreads are, and we know what you should be charging, and help these companies get the correct pricing for what they're buying. Just to put it in a little bit of numbers, about 9 out of 10 times that we engage with a client, we do find the savings. And the savings are typically about 30% on the expenses we consult to. So with an average size manufacturer, that typically starts with saving them about $30,000 to $50,000 a year that we're finding. We're totally independent. We don't take money from vendors, and it allows us to really keep flexible in what we do. We're always reviewing new technologies and new ways of doing things, and we don't get stuck in a rut, always looking at the same people or feeling beholden. Oh, we got to keep bringing, a certain telecom vendor into negotiations because we're getting some cash from them. We accept nothing. We're similar to an attorney. We only work on our client's behalf. So there's a couple different ways that I figured out how to leverage this. And honestly, it wasn't just my idea for this. I've seen other franchises that are doing the same thing. Basically what we're doing is we're giving back directly to the people that help us and the organizations that connect us to the businesses that we serve. So say, for example, if I can go into, if someone in a club, like the Lions Club, that was the example that Jerry was talking about earlier, that Lions Club basically said, Fred, we want you to meet this business owner that we know that would like to be able to save some money because he wanted to hire a couple of new people. They said, why don't you talk to him and see if you can? Well, we went in, odds were really good, and sure enough, we did. We were able to save them on their small package shipping and LTL was the biggest area. And I said, okay, well, as a thank you for connecting me to that person I probably would have otherwise really struggled to ever meet or even know about, said, I'm going to give you a percentage of whatever I make from that relationship as long as that relationship exists, which in general is about 3 years. So it's going to become a renewing and recurring source of revenue for them that they're going to be able to help by seeing eye dogs and do some of their community screening projects that they do for the pre-Ks that are coming into the school program. So that's through their Gallup program. So I also will take this what I do direct to nonprofits. So there's organizations out there like the Diocese of Cleveland that, I'm sorry, not the Diocese of Cleveland, the Diocese of Chicago that has signed on with us. And we've already figured out a way to help their organization save somewhere around $300,000 a year. We're on track to do that for them. So the savings can be significant. And then in that case, we're just delivering that direct to them. They came to us and said, hey, we could use the help. But so if anybody knows of the service organizations in the area, certainly I'm willing to help. But I could also help directly with the nonprofits and help them out. And I'm really hoping to do more of that, because I'd like to see, they work hard for that money that gets donated. It's similar to how hard you're working for this Chili Open and to make that come together. You want to make sure that money really gets to someone that's going to be able to use it in a positive manner and to make a change. And so I want to make sure nonprofits are able to save as much as they possibly can, whether that's the Red Cross helping, more people in need, with their blood drives, whatever that is. But I also want to help the service organizations that are able to reach out and help, so many more people in the community, because we're so attached to maybe some of the needs that don't get as much attention as the Red Crosses do. And then I was asked, and I did vet this through John Reyes as well as the district giving personnel. I can donate directly to the local clubs, to your local foundations. I can actually donate to the Rotary Foundation and then gift Paul Harris's all the way up through Paul Harris +8. I did find out I cannot gift somebody into a major donor. I don't know if you all know that, but to become a major donor, you basically have to give your own money. You can't have someone gift you up like someone can gift you points to become a Paul Harris. So that's really what I've got. I know I didn't take many breaths in there. Is there, are there any questions?
Any questions, Drew?
All right. Well, thank you for letting me be here. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Fred. Here is our Rotary coin. The Imagine coin, and we can imagine lots of wonderful things that you're going to be doing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Dan, do you want to do the, or Linda, I guess you can go ahead. Thank you very much. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. It was very interesting to hear everything, Fred. And again, welcome to the Akron Rotary Club. And Fred, you can come back and visit again, and you can bring Randy. We won't steal him. We might borrow him, but we won't steal him. Again, he's a wonderful friend. Dan O'Connell won the lottery last Tuesday. So, Dan, it's all yours.
All right. If you could please pick one of these coupons and read it out loud, I'd appreciate it. Daily winner. 229155. 229155. All right. Hey, all right, here we go.
Congrats.
Back there. How many big ones do we win today, Dan?
11.
All right.
All right. Woohoo.
Now, Progressive pot those too, so.
Thanks, Randy.
Oh.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Randy. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Connor, do you have a sign up for your indicators and greeters?
Okay, no winner on the Progressive pot. All right, the pot grows. So yes, thank you to everyone that signed up, and I also know that a lot of folks have signed up online already too for some of the slots. So thank you. As always, indicators is the toughest one to fill, so you guys will be getting a healthy dose of me unless I get some extra names on that list. But thanks for everyone who signed up. I'll continue to make announcements, but greeter is pretty much filled up. So thank you again to everyone here who signed up today, and we'll go from there. Thanks, Linda.
Good. Thank you so much. And then again, don't forget the little flyer that's on your table. Look forward to seeing everybody Friday night from 5 to 8. Chili Open, any last hurrahs? Bring spirits. Bring spirits.
Bring it on Friday night?
Yeah, we could bring spirits Friday night, right? Cindy, Jeff, Mr. Chili Open, we can bring spirits Friday night, right? Yeah. Yeah, don't drop it. Don't drop it. And again, a quick note from Terry Dalton. He still needs some help with the scholarship dinner that hopefully will be held here in April. So if you want to touch base with Terry Dalton and would like to be on the committee for the scholarship dinner, again, fingers crossed, that will be here April 25th. Any other quick announcements? Again, welcome to our visitors. Come back. Yara, it was good to see you. Come again, dear. And if not, okay. Meeting's adjourned. Have a good day.